One of the things that Queen Charlotte asks, or rather Princess Charlotte, as she's arriving in England to meet her new husband-to-be, is she asks her brother, why did they pick me? There were other young women in Europe that they could have picked, but yet they picked her, and there had to be a reason. And what you're finding out as you sort of watch the trailer and then you see the featurette that recently just came out, is that something is going on there. There's a shift in society that's already occurring. And Princess Augusta seems to be a part of that. Because as you'll see in the clip from that featurette that I pull out, is that she makes a comment that it seems very clear that this is not just a thing that's happening. It's a, that just happens because Charlotte and George fall in love. It's something that happens because the Queen, because somebody in the government or some buddies in the government feel that they need to merge these societies, that things are happening that mean that these societies should be merged, and that she's there as a person of color, Charlotte is, to help get this going so that people see that this change is happening even at the highest level of society. So let's watch this bit from the featurette, and then I'll speak afterwards, some of my thoughts.
In the Bridgerton world, we're always talking about how Queen Charlotte and King George sort of made this new England possible, where we're seeing integrated society and everybody's got titles. And so I wanted to show how that came to be.
Our side and their side do not mix, ever. The Great Experiment is a topic that is exploring race and classes merging.
It is time we were united as a society, is it not?
It's the idea of the first time the ton is desegregated.
Shall we?
One of the things that was said about the Princess Augusta character in some of the early synopsises that floated around for the miniseries was that she was protecting her son's position in a changing Britain, which suggested to me that there were already changes happening in that society, and that what's going on with Charlotte and George is just sort of the capper on the experience, or is meant to be the capper. The more that I watched the trailer and now this new featurette, which we just watched a clip from, it's pretty clear to me that this is potentially a forced desegregation, which means that there are people that should be having an issue with this. And these societies were apart for a reason. And I'm sure that there's still, as always in a forced desegregation situation, are still some people that want to keep those pieces separate. And Bridgerton doesn't portray that. Everybody seems to be getting along well and hunky-dory, and there are interracial couples and all of that. But the experience, that we have out in the real world regarding forced desegregation is things do not go well. And in America, even though the Civil War was more than 100 years ago, was more than 150 years ago, we are still struggling as a society to accept each other and to live in an integrated fashion. And I'm not sure that Bridgerton really needed to do this. But they're doing it anyway. So I'll be interested to see how it turns out. And I'll be interested to see the reactions of people of color. Because I know there are a lot of them that will be watching this. And I want to make sure, I want to hear what their comments are on what they do. Because I'm just a bit concerned that this will not play well.